Well, it's about time I finally got a train going. G'day guys and welcome back to Leila Central. My name's Clinton, your average modeller, and today we're just doing a basic layout update and what I've been up to. So progress on the layout has been very slow, mostly because of weather. This layout is essentially in a shed, and in Australia we've been having quite a lot of hot days, and as a result it's been very unpleasant being in here in the shed. Some cases outside's been 40 degrees Celsius, and inside the shed it's been roughly about the same. So I've been getting pockets in here of time to do stuff, but it has been very slow. Now I've just recently completed my track work. I've got only one single loop running at the moment, so just around the outside here, as you can see, and a lot of this has been to test essentially super elevation. Now some of my curves, I've put in some super elevation. Now what I've actually used is just some of this bit of popsicle stick, which I've cut down in size, and I've wedged it underneath the actual track areas right here to create a semi-little elevation. And some areas have got it, some areas don't. Those that I think that are high-speed pass areas, I certainly have. I did have super elevation occurring here where the track was bending in that direction, but however, due to the closeness of this bend and then it twisting over here, I was finding I was getting some derailment, so the wheels were coming off here, but then much more further around the layout they were coming off completely as a result. So all the problems were stemming from this part, and as a result I've taken the super elevation just out of this little bend here, but I have kept it right around the outside loop. Now in the meantime, apart from doing very little because of the heat, I have been buying a few bits and pieces to try and keep myself occupied. So as you can see here, I've purchased a couple of Craftsman kits. So the semi-detached houses, which I'm working on at the moment, farm cottage, and the post office. Now these are essentially a scratch-built kit. You get a lot of series of materials and sheets of stuff, and you have to make these from scratch. Now I'm a terrible scratch builder. It is certainly not my cup of tea, or I certainly don't have the skills for it. But the best way to do it is to buy kits and just get into it. Now I can thank Paul over at Galgorm Hall, who's inspired me to do this sort of stuff. As I described to him, I call myself a plonker, and what that essentially is I grab a resin building, essentially get it out of its box and put it on the actual layout. No assembly or anything else. I do love doing, I love the look of scratch building, but I just wish my skills were better. So the only way to do it is to get in and do this stuff. So these will make appearances around the layout as time goes on. I've also bought some signal box interior stuff, the various sheets of material so I can scratch build my stations for Brinklow or Shilton. Also got a couple of little basic lampside huts, and also a signal box which is based I think on the LMS. This is by ratio. Now this kit I've also assembled already, as you can see over here. Here's the LMS signal box, as you can see, so I have assembled it at the moment. Now I did put in one of the signal box interiors. Now this isn't stuck down completely yet because obviously I wish to paint this, but got the signal frames, everything else, the levers, and a bit of an interior which I will put in at some stage, paint up at some stage. Biggest challenge that I had was essentially putting in this very fine wire right across, and as you can see I have bent it accidentally in a few parts, but very difficult, and for someone like me, really put the skills to the absolute test. But I'm going to have fun painting this fella and then getting it on the layout where it will actually be. Now I think this signal box will be belonging over at Brinklow. I cannot find any images on the signal box at Brinklow, so I'm using a substitute being this, and should look good once it's fully painted, weathered, and get it in place. So at the moment I'm researching some colours that the LMS had used and trying to match it as best as possible. Now the other thing I purchased is this very small wheels ground signal box as well, so just a small little fella, and this will belong over at the Shilton station area. This did come with some basic signal frames, but yeah, not much of an interior, and not that it really needs it. So that's come along quite well. One of the magazine subscriptions locally, I think this was Monorail, ended up having a grounded wagon kit that came with the magazine, so I've obviously purchased that pretty much, so that was good. That'll find a spot on the layout. And there's one of the actual small lamp huts that I've actually put together. So again, something with corrugation, they'll look quite good with a bit of weathering and a bit of paint, and should be quite good. Now, I've had also some other subscribers contact me in regards to when I'll be doing the next video on my actual cement plant, because I've left it off obviously with the main building and no windows done yet. Now, that will happen in due course. At the moment, as you can imagine, I've been focusing on the layout rebuild, same with the track laying, and because of the heat's been so bad, the progress has been super slow. Haven't forgotten about the videos. I will be continuing these in due course when the weather cools down. And obviously at the moment I don't have my industry in yet either. But I do plan to get all that stuff sorted. And look, once the track works down and the layout rebuild is back up, then we're going to start seeing a few more painting videos, especially around the cement plant, as well as some of the other buildings like mentioned before with the signal boxes as well. So my apologies otherwise if you're hanging out for that video for the windows. I haven't forgotten about it, and it is planned, but unfortunately I've been focusing all my efforts on the actual layout itself, and of course that's been very slow because of the actual weather. But as it starts to cool down, this should progress along a lot more quicker, and then we'll be back to doing some stuff. Now, hopefully soon in the next week, I plan to put up another video more around about essentially a trailer. Now, the trailer I'm going to do differently for my actual channel. Obviously, at the moment, I don't have one, but I plan to do a yearly channel. Now, what that is I plan to do a bit of a plan for each month to try and probably gauge you guys, my current subscriber base, along with any new subscribers, what my plans are for the year. And we'll retouch it on my future videos as well, just to go, all right, how we're tracking, how has there been delays, and what we're looking at. And we'll see how that goes. But otherwise, guys, feel free to sit back and watch. I've just attached a couple of videos of trains running through and just testing the elevation. So give me your thoughts, and thanks for hanging in there. And I am still here, just been very hot down here in Australia. So anyway, thanks guys, thanks for subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed, feel free to subscribe along, and then you can follow my progress. Thanks for watching, take care, bye.